Bharat on Friday abstained from voting in the United Nations General Assembly on a draft resolution introduced by Jordan, which called for an immediate humanitarian truce in the Israel-Palestine conflict after it failed to mention about the terrorist group Hamas. Besides Bharat, other nations which abstained from voting include Australia, Canada, Germany, Japan, Ukraine and the United Kingdom. Bharat's ambassador to the UNGA, Yojana Patel, noted that terror attacks on Israel that happened on October 7 deserved to be condemned, adding that their thoughts are with the hostages that were taken by Hamas terrorists. Patel called for an immediate release of the hostages. The resolution, titled Protection of Civilians and Upholding Legal and Humanitarian Obligations, called for unhindered humanitarian access in the Gaza Strip and was co-sponsored by more than 40 nations. It was adopted by 120 voting in favor, 14 voting against the resolution, while 45 nations abstained from voting. Bharat's ambassador at UN added, "Terrorism is a malignancy and knows no borders, nationality or race. The world should not buy into any justification of terror acts." Bharat at UNGA added that the humanitarian crisis in both the nations need to be addressed, mentioning that the country welcomes the international community's de-escalation efforts and delivery of assistance to the people suffering in Gaza, where Bharat too has contributed. Prior to the adoption of the resolution, the UNGA member nations considered amending the text wherein they would state that the Assembly unequivocally condemns the terrorist attacks by the Hamas group on Israel that was carried out on October 7. The amendment would also have mentioned that the UNGA members condemn taking off the hostages while demanding safety, well-being and humane treatment of the hostages in compliance to the international law, and also called for their immediate and unconditional release. Pertinently, Bharat voted in favor of amending the resolution introduced by Jordan along with 87 other countries. However, since 55 member states voted against it and 23 abstained, President of the 78th session of the UNGA, Dennis Francis, announced that the draft amendment could not be adopted.